Hi everybody, I'm Morgan and I'm going to be talking about childhood obesity today for our project in current health problems. So for our first topic being science, we're just going to go over all sorts of different aspects of science as far as what makes you obese, foods that are low in nutrients, foods that are high in nutrients, a good indicator of what being obese is, the difference for children and adults, and how can we make healthy eating more fun. So for starters, to become obese, you have a very unhealthy diet and you also don't have enough exercise or an inadequate amount, so you're eating foods that are low in nutrients. Foods that are low in nutrients are things that are like, your chicken nuggets and fries, your donuts, your popcorn, things like that taste really good, but they don't hold really any value. And they fill you up for a second, but then you can definitely tell that afterwards you're feeling pretty bad, your stomach's probably hurting, things like that. We also use the BMI scale. There are other things that we use. Doctors normally use them, but the most commonly known thing is the BMI. There's charts that you can find online which are super helpful, but if you don't find a chart online, you can do it yourself, and it's your weight in pounds times 703 divided by your height in inches times your height in inches. So I don't care to tell y'all how much I weigh. I weigh 137 pounds, so I would do 137 times 703, and I would divide it by, I'm 5 foot, that's 62, so I'm actually 5'1", we're going to get me 5'1". So 137 times 703 divided by 63 times 63. I'm actually considered overweight with the BMI chart, so it's definitely questionable at some times, but it's the main way of what we use. You have to look at the differences in children and adults when it comes to childhood obesity. Kids grow at different rates. Some of them are like me and never really got the chance to grow up tall. Some of them grow super tall. The sexes, females normally hit puberty at different times than male children, so there are a lot of different variables in obesity as far as when you become obese or not, but it is easy for children to not be so susceptible to obesity if we make things interesting with food. Like we play into how they're different colors, and we can use that as activities. Fruits and vegetables, they have beautiful, beautiful colors. They're very vibrant, and we could use that in a lot of different ways. Also, as well as maybe giving them more independence on what they pick. If they feel like, yeah, I did that for myself, I'm going to want to eat it. They'll definitely enjoy that a little bit more than just being told what to eat, especially not knowing if they don't like it or not. Politics is sort of a touchy subject, of course, with everything. Nobody just loves politics being brought in. This is not anything different in class. I know we had a couple class days where we talked about how at one point the government thought about regulating sugary drinks, maybe like putting taxes on things like that, and that would be something that could help. Of course, not everybody would be totally happy about that, because then it takes away your rights and freedoms and things like that, or they would think it would. But that is definitely an option. I'm also going to talk about Michelle Obama. There was a large thing with her in 2012 that a bunch of people weren't happy with. So there was a act started in 2010 called the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010. And they ended up acting upon it in 2012 when they made it a requirement that for the breads there was whole grains, fruits and vegetables, at least one serving was offered at every meal, and then also they were offered low to no fat milk for their meals. And children had issues with that, parents had issues with that. If a child doesn't like their food, they're not going to eat. Also, I apologize for this phone ringing. They're not going to eat And that was a very big thing. Also, if she hadn't been the president's wife at the time, people probably would have taken to it better, but since she was is Barack Obama's wife, people from the get-go had a problem just based off the fact that they didn't like Barack Obama. Schools were very quick to change this. In turn, there was help, but then they eventually changed back in 2018. They gave they gave more options as for what children could eat. It's said, though, if you are a child that's 5 in kindergarten who's already overweight, you're 4 times more likely to be overweight as a 14-year-old than any healthy size kid at that age. So it definitely does come into a big play for school and what they eat and what they don't eat. Culture and media have a lot to do with childhood obesity, in my opinion. Just things that we do in our country, in our county, in our towns, are just a lot different than things that are done around the world. We are a very electronic-based community now. I'd say country now, where there are just so many endless opportunities and things to do online that it's difficult for a child to want to be outside and running around and playing and exercising. And so that is something that has put a lot on children, even though we don't really see it as that. There's also, in our culture, we're a very working hard culture. We don't take too many days for vacation or for mental health, and I'm a strong believer that when that stresses parents out, that kids carry their parents' stress, and stress is a big thing for children, and there's stress eating, there's stress sleeping, just overall it's not good for a child's health, and I just think that's also a very big issue. Advertising in the media is insane. We also talked about this in class. It's so easy to pick the fun, colorful boxes of foods that's nothing but sugar and starch and not anything really good. We had our grocery store assignment where we went over that a lot. And so it's super easy. Also, there are other cultures and in this world who value family dinners, and it's proved that family dinners actually help reduce childhood obesity. You gotta think, if you are a family and you're sitting down to a prepared meal, most of the time prepared meals are much healthier than fast food, and you kind of have your parents there to regulate what you're eating. They're not sneaking in food and things like that. It really helps. And then we also have all these unrealistic body expectations in the media today, and there's all sorts of really skinny people, really fit people, and it's hard for children to look at that and not see the flaws in themselves, which leads them to eat more because they're sad or they feel bad, or not want to go out because they are self-conscious about the way they look, and then it just ends up getting worse because they're so self-conscious that they don't want to make a change. I believe that culture and media has a lot to do with childhood obesity, and we definitely have a way to where we could use it in a good way, to where we could promote healthier things, we could have better advertising, but at the end of the day, people are going to go for what makes money, and that sadly is not it right now. Socioeconomics and poverty is the last thing I'm going to talk about in my PowerPoint today. There are 14.4 million children affected by obesity. It is mostly Black and Hispanic children, and it is mostly boys that are affected. There are some things that we have found as far as socioeconomics, but it also goes into culture as well. I just wanted to put it under the socioeconomics. If your parents, or if the parents of a child smokes, they are more likely to be obese. The higher a degree that a parent has, like if a parent has a higher degree, or if both parents have higher degrees, then their child is less likely to be obese. When you think about that, it kind of makes sense, because with a higher degree, for the most part, comes higher money, so they have more availability to get healthier foods. They have the availability to let their kids participate in extracurricular activities more often than not. To me, it's very sad. I believe that all children should have the same opportunities as the next, no matter what money is, but we live in a society where money is a major driver in things, and that is a big thing in childhood obesity. If you actually watched this last video, I'm very surprised, but I wanted to apologize for the annoying little beep at the beginning of every video. I had to buy a webcam because my brand new computer decided that it didn't want its camera to work, so I've been struggling with that for the last couple days, which is also why I'm turning it in so late, because I didn't have anything to record myself on. So, sorry you had to deal with that little annoying noise. Also, I appreciate you taking the time out to watch my PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I hope y'all have a happy Easter. Enjoy it. And I will see y'all back in class next Tuesday.